Hillary Duff. She's one of the girls that we're all waiting for to turn 18.
With Ashton Kutcher back in the news for defending serial assaulter Daniel Masterson, Punk'd is getting a lot of unwanted attention for his questionable judgment. And with a recent story about a YouTuber prankster given a warning shot after harassing an unsuspecting man,
Stop.
I'd like to take this opportunity to break down what makes a good prank by comparing Ashton's mean-spirited show to other shows of the same era, like the Jamie Kennedy Experiment, or Just for Laugh Gags. How to make a good prank. So before I get into what makes a good prank, let's first discuss what makes a bad prank. Several things can tank a prank, but the number one reason that makes a prank bad is intentional infliction of emotional distress. If that sounds like legalese, that's because it is. It turns out that Punk'd has had at least one instance of being sued for just this, and for good reason. So what is intentional infliction of emotional distress? I'm not a lawyer, but it has been described as a situation that meets the following three criteria. Extreme or outrageous conduct that is intentional or reckless and causes severe emotional distress or emotional injury and potentially bodily harm. What might fit this bill? Oh, I don't know. Convincing someone that there's a dead body on their hotel room floor? A couple say they were horrified to find what looked like a mutilated body in their hotel room in a stunt stage for Ashton Kutcher's upcoming practical joke series. Intentional infliction of emotional distress might be putting the mark in tense situations like, I don't know, a car robbery.
What's up, man?
Oh my god.
Get out of the car. Get out. What? Get out. Get out of the car.
Or a pet robbery.
Your girlfriend just left her fiance.
How are you?
What do you look like?
He had like a shaved head and
I know that's my fiance's tall.
Or repossessing someone's entire life.
Whose car is this?
Last verse somewhere.
Mr. Timberlake, whose car is this?
Now these elements in a prank can be funny, but not the way Ashton does it. His goal is to try to rile up his marks to inflict emotional distress and get them to react, hopefully inappropriately, with near negligible opportunity for them to step up and be a good person.
Hey.
I was just holding the can. I was.
What the mind? I'm not gonna hit him. I'm not gonna hit him. I watched you, you little.
I didn't.
I saw you with the can in your hand, you little.
Compare this to the Jamie Kennedy Experiment.
I know you might think it's crazy, but sometimes I think that he might be the one.
This is my new album, Malibu Tech. You know what I'm saying? And it's all about my life. You know what I mean? Where I grew up in the hood. You know what I'm saying?
Where are you from?
Malibu.
In the Jamie Kennedy Experiment, we're not laughing at the marks, we're laughing with the marks at Jamie Kennedy. What's the biggest difference between Punk'd and Jamie Kennedy Experiment? In my opinion, it's that the marks are kept in a state of disbelief. This can't be happening. Or, I'm not actually seeing this, right? Essentially, they're always the Jim Halpert part in The Office. They're never pushed to take the blame or deal with hostile individuals. And if they are forced to take the blame, they're given every opportunity to be the hero. And the aggressor is always the authoritative yet comedically harmless Jamie Kennedy. Compare these two sketches that both star Kaitlin Olson of Always Sunny fame.
Okay, it's your first day on the job and you realize that your boss is having an affair. Do you cover for him?
Who's here? My wife. Look.
Oh, James?
Martin, shut up. Look, if she comes and suspects us, she's gonna know. Okay? Can you pretend that you're his boyfriend? Okay. Okay? Is that fine? I'm sorry. Did you guys meet? Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay.
Hi, sweetie.
Hey, baby.
Oh, hey, Barton. Hey. What are you doing here?
I was just, Brad was here because he's a friend of mine. He's my new boyfriend.
Hi. How are you? So you guys are a couple? Mm-hmm. Oh, well, congratulations.
He calls me Fluffy. So,
that's cute.
Yeah.
Where'd you and Barton meet?
We were at a party and...
Where was it?
We had things to drink, I can't even remember.
And it's my mind, I was...
Amber Tamlin, Joan of Arcadia. She's a young little vixen. Sam is our accomplice. They're gonna go to a restaurant. Upon which time, we've got a little Yorkshire Terrier, Oscar. I don't even know if that's considered a dog. We're gonna let it go for the bit. Caitlin's the dog owner. She's gonna be giving Oscar to Amber Tamlin. At which point in time, Brian Jarvis is gonna come in and steal the dog.
Thank you. Hi. Oh, your fiance just picked him up.
No.
No. There was a guy that just came through and he...
Someone came and picked him up?
Yeah, but he looked at me and he was like, "Oh, there you are." Like the dog was his, and I thought you said your fiance. So I.
No, but I just got off the phone with him. He's gonna be like 20 minutes.
Oh my God. Okay.
What
He
did
went around the alley right there. Like,
I just asked you to watch the dog just for a second.
I know.
Wait, hold on. What happened?
Okay, a guy came through here and I had the dog sitting with me and he like grabbed the dog.
Grabbed him and just ran him?
No. I'm sorry. My brain is going a million miles an hour.
I don't know.
I mean, he wasn't. Oh my God.
Don't try. Just offer to pay for the dog.
All that I can really do for you is to pay for it. I know that's so horrible to say.
The situations can't be more different. In JKX, the Mark is saving a gay couple from a bitchy wife. In Punk'd, a year later, the Mark is saving herself from the bitchy wife. There's nothing she can do to become a hero. She's even tricked into offering money. She's helpless. But in JKX, the Mark is given the opportunity to lie and save the couple from that bitchy wife. That's the whole prank. We ask, how far will he go to save this couple?
These are his underwear.
These are your underwear?
I date him sometimes. He was getting changed in my car. It wasn't a big deal.
I asked him a question. Those are yours?
But in Punk'd, we're left thinking, how far will Ashton go to humiliate and traumatize this young woman?
It's a breeder dog. It's a really expensive breeder dog worth $25,000. Have you heard of
$5,000? What can we do? What can I do to make you feel better?
You could put on like a search and rescue suit and run around and try and find my dog.
Punching down. The one thing that Punk'd had over any other prank show was its ability to speak truth to power by pranking celebrities. In comedy, it's not okay to make fun of people of lower status or privilege, and it's very acceptable to tear down high status people. In America, celebrities are high status. So by pranking celebrities, Punk'd thought they can get away with humiliating the Mark because society wants to see celebrities fall, or at least brought down a notch. But at the same time, we also hope these celebrities are as kind as their on-screen personas. And in the end, we're actually hoping they don't fall and that they step up to become that hero that we all want them to be. We want to see their humanity and that they're just like us. Unfortunately, Punk'd never allows them to be said heroes and does everything possible to make them flip out and ruin their public persona. For this reason, Punk'd comes off as mean-spirited and bullying, even sadistic. Punk'd used celebrities as punching bags. On the other hand, shows like Jamie Kennedy Experiments use celebrities as authority figures to help the prankster get humiliated. Like the Bob Saget prank where Bob flips out, not on the Marks, only on Jamie Kennedy playing a fired assistant who led a tour bus around Bob's house after secretly breaking into it.
It's my house! You're not breaking into a guy's house! No, I wanted to bring a few people in, dude. I know! I'm not the one with the porno tapes upstairs, and they all saw it.
It's okay because the celebrity is humiliating himself for the prank.
Dude, stay back!
That's the person that I'm dating.
Stay back!
So don't punch down. It makes for a bad prank. Oh, and punching down is metaphor for don't be a bully. Don't hit people below you physically or metaphorically. Just don't pick on people of low status or low privilege. And although celebrities might be okay targets to pick on, I always felt like picking on naive sweethearts was just bullying.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you've mentioned that. I hear you.
Supernatural versus natural. You might think what makes something funny is how real it is, yet it's the exact opposite. The more ridiculous or supernatural a situation is, the better, because the Mark continues to not believe their reality. When you think you found a real dead body, that's not funny. When you witness Jesus rise from the dead or walk on water, that's funny. Pranks or practical jokes aren't tests of what we would do in an emotional situation or potentially traumatic situation. It's a test of what you would do when the world stops making sense and you struggle to make sense again. If a joke is too realistic, it becomes the Milgram experiments and stops being funny. It's more likely to trigger real traumatic experiences from the past and turn the comedy into a drama. Jump scares. Jump scares are not good pranks. But why are jump scares not funny? Let me first explain how humans evolved laughter. The thesis goes, laughter evolved from the need to distinguish real threats from non-threats. It's the third option in fight or flight. When we see a potential threat, we can either fight, flee, or laugh it off as safe. All three are ways to mitigate the adrenaline released from the initial fear response. Think back to the hunter-gatherer days of humanity. When we see danger like eyes through a field of grass, we build up adrenaline to help us survive that potential threat. Maybe it's a lion, maybe it's a gazelle. If it's a lion and we don't fear it, we're taken out of the gene pool. So we've evolved to fear the worst because it helps keep us alive. If it's a gazelle, what do we do with that adrenaline built up by the fear? If it's not used up, it literally becomes toxic. It literally throws off our brain chemistry, so we work to get to safety. When we get to safety, we can breathe slowly to help release and combat that flood of adrenaline. Or we can laugh, which triggers the detoxification process by releasing endorphins that help cancel out that adrenaline. But often, we don't need to get to safety to laugh. We can witness safety by having the eyes rise up to reveal a gazelle. The laughter lets us and our neighbors know there's no real threat. So in a way, jump scares are exactly what we've evolved to laugh at. We're scared and scream, but then when we learn that threat is actually safe, we laugh it off. Well, some people laugh it off. So here's the other crazy thing about laughter. It's also completely necessary for the brain's learning process. That's because adrenaline and scary situations create stronger, firmer memories. Why? So we don't get killed. The adrenaline rush is literally an amplifier of memory storing. When the adrenaline is used to create stronger fear memories, we're more likely to fear things and more likely to survive. But when we laugh, the strength of the adrenaline is diminished, so the experience becomes less traumatizing. We learn to fear those particular eyes a little less. Laughter is key to helping us learn what's safe in a dangerous world. And in a relatively safe world, like ours, laughter has become a way to feel safe in a corporate world. It's in our nature to want to laugh off a jump scare because it helps us end the situation faster. But in the end, you're intentionally inflicting emotional distress on someone not expecting it. And that's not funny. So what else is not funny? Violence. Let me show you a clip.
Tyrone?
Are you going trick-or-treating?
No, probably.
Now, I normally don't think jump scares are funny, but why did I laugh at this one? In my opinion, it's because of comedic irony. In the attempt to be funny, he gets the exact opposite response. This guy thinks his jump scare is safe and funny. This guy thinks he's being jumped and reacts appropriately and instinctually. It's an extremely human response and highlights how two different people can see the world in two opposing yet equally valid ways. Everything in this kid's life led him to think that that was funny. This kid taught him it's not. Similarly, there's this clip, which isn't a prank, but highlights a lot of ridiculous stuff going on. Like, this thermometer looks like a gun, but this guy is unaware and thinks he's helping by checking a temperature. In the end, it's safe, but for a moment, this guy was legitimately terrified. But pulling a real gun on someone, then showing them it's not even loaded, that's never funny. So what other violence is not funny? Well, to me, tricking the mark into hurting themselves or scaring themselves, that's not funny. Like leaving a booby trap that drops a bucket on their head. In my mind, it's a betrayal of someone's trust and wouldn't make the mark laugh unless they feel they should have known better. Also, I feel anything that could trigger a heart attack or a stroke is not funny. Maybe it's not direct violence, but to me, there's still physical pain that's associated with that scare. So violence is not funny, but it can be funny. When is violence funny? In my opinion, it's when it's self-inflicted and the effects are temporary. If someone hurts themselves when trying to hurt someone else or do something mean to somebody else, that's funny. Now, the last thing that makes something not funny before moving on to what makes things funny is lack of consent. If you have to blur out the face of a mark because you couldn't get their permission, it's not funny. It's dehumanizing and feels exploitative. If you can't get their permission after the prank, then it's probably not a funny prank. And even then, there's something manipulative about getting consent to air the content right after a prank. Often there can be a whole set pressuring them to sign off on this thing, and it can be a high pressure situation. There's also the induced state of openness created by laughter that can cloud someone's judgment too. I personally feel that there should be a law that any consent signed within a week of a prank should not be legal in the court of law. The mark should have at least some time to figure out how much their unpaid acting is actually worth, and use their consent to extort the pranksters. Now, for as much as I hate Punk'd, they did get consent from all of their actors. After all, they all had agents. And shockingly, there are reports that several of the celebrities Ashton pranked did not want their footage released, so Ashton personally destroyed the tapes to make sure they weren't released.
Did anything air from him? Or did...
No, we literally pulled the film and destroyed it in front of him.
But a good prank shouldn't have to come to that. What's great about JKX is that the marks often returned for the viewing of the prank, maybe under coercion of fame and money, but at least they were good sports. So, what makes a good prank? First of all, it has to be harmless. It must avoid intentional infliction of emotional distress. The marks shouldn't be traumatized and they shouldn't be humiliated. Instead, secondly, the mark should be celebrated. The mark should be a hero, not a victim, and should be socially engineered into stepping up. Third, the mark should be witness to an outrageous, absurd, or supernatural experience and struggle to deal with the situation in the best way possible. A good prank makes the mark question reality and jump for joy when the hidden cameras are revealed because the world makes sense again. Fourth, the prank has to have a solid comedic structure. It should get us to laugh through situational comedy, jokes, pranksters humiliating themselves, or marks improvising unexpected yet authentic solutions to deal with the situation. Punching down or bullying is not solid comedic structure. The mark playing the straight man, the Jim Halpert of the sketch, is fun. Getting the mark to lie, and getting the mark to lie poorly to the pranksters, and the pranksters letting him get away with those lies, that's solid comedic structure. Pre-written jokes or quips built into the scene, said by the pranksters, is also funny, especially if there's dramatic irony.
Y'all don't take me seriously, huh?
It's not about you right now, it's about her.
Would you take me seriously if I had my own TV show?
Since only the viewers at home would get the joke and the mark would not, that's solid comedic structure. What makes a solid comedic structure is hard to define, but generally, if you've ever learned comedy from a stand-up school, or improv school, or sketch writing school, or sitcom writing school, or even a satire comedy book, you'll have a better idea of what makes solid comedic structure. So what else makes a good prank? 5. It has to show the mark laughing immediately after the reveal. This is an extension of harmless. We need to know that it didn't traumatize the mark. Plus, it's cathartic to see a series of marks all relax and laugh at themselves and the situation. At some point in the prank, we need to laugh with them, even if it's us laughing at them laughing at themselves. One of the better responses in my mind is a mark saying, "I knew it," because it's comedic irony. They're trying to convince us they knew it was fake all along, yet they showed us through their action that they believed it the whole time. My final rule for a good prank is 6. A good prankster creates a definitive moment for the mark to realize that it's all made up. Like a clean punchline, it gives the mark and us at home an exact moment of release, an exact moment to laugh. A sloppy prank is indecisive in its reveal and raises more questions in the mark's mind than it answers. With the worst question being, "Why the hell would you think this is funny, Ashton?" That being said, I find it a touch manipulative when the prankster immediately grabs the mark for a hug and smile to coerce a laugh. Definitions of harmless and solid comedic structure will be up for debate and personal taste, but trauma can be measured retrospectively. So with a little bit of empathy and comedic training, you may be able to predict bad prank ideas before you do them. So what's an example of the perfect prank? According to my rules, well, first, I need to talk about my second favorite prank show, Just for Laugh Gags. Filmed in Montreal, it doesn't even require dialogue. Just like JKX, I'm not going to say all of their pranks are ethical, but 95% are, and for a show that's lasted decades, that's saying something. Once again, what's key to a lot of my favorite gags is watching the marks struggle to make sense of an absurd reality, like watching their husbands suddenly display a talent they've never mentioned in years of marriage. Or watching a satellite land on a nearby car. Or witnessing a kid run up a wall. Or despite being unethical in my opinion, one of the funniest sketches to me is one where the Marks can't believe they're seeing the Grim Reaper. On the one hand, you're inflicting emotional distress by making them fear death. On the other hand, the Marks are inflicting that pain on themselves by failing to come up with a more natural explanation than a fairy tale. The absurdity of the situation just outweighs the trauma inflicted in my mind, and suddenly the sketch becomes funny. Furthermore, we see them smile at the end with huge relief, which hopefully signifies no long-term trauma. So let me leave you with my favorite prank of all time, one where this beautiful woman sends unsuspecting single men a beer, but when she changes her mind, hilarity ensues. Harmless. Witness an absurd situation. Prankster humiliates themselves. Our Mark becomes a hero. The Mark bursts into laughter. So if you're still here, go check out Just for Laugh Gags and the Jamie Kennedy Experiment. Even if you don't like Jamie, just watch the show for the excellent work that his team of writers and accomplices pulled off. Hopefully you've learned a bit about what makes a good prank and a bad prank, and now you have a resource to help explain why those other pranks that might get you shot are not funny. So please, share this with anyone you think would benefit from this insight, and thanks for watching.